This YouTube's kind of weird. All right, guys. I don't know if it's loading up yet, but the YouTube is frozen right now, so I'm just waiting for it to load up. Once it's loaded up, we can get started with this mentoring session. All right, there we go. I think it's ready now. You just follow through to the other page. Let me just get everything all set up real quick, and then we can get started. All set up there. It's good right there. Let me get the link out to you guys here in the premium group. There we go. Everything all set up right now, guys. All right, guys. So people are making their way going right now, or they're making their way in. People are starting to join the room, so I'm gonna give it a few seconds for people to make their way in. I know it's starting a little late, guys. Sorry, I had issues getting the stream up, but it looks like it's fine now. Yeah, for some reason it was just like lagging, and it wouldn't come up, but now it's getting loaded up. So just gonna give it some time for it to finish loading. It's 4 o'clock right now, so looking like, I mean, I was looking at a couple of scalps here, but I don't really see anything. Mainly this session is going to be for me to answer questions for pretty much everyone here. If you guys have any questions regarding any of the strategies, any of the issues that you guys have had trading, I'm here to help you guys out. So let's get this started. All right, so I'll give it a few more minutes. If you guys have questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. And then once we get started with the session, I'll just start going through the questions. So if you guys do have questions, drop your questions in the chat, and then we'll start making our way through. All right. Cool. All right, so I'll give it a few more minutes, guys. It's 4 o'clock right now, 4:05 actually. So we do have some time for people to still make their way. And I know it's like opposite time for a lot of you guys here in the UK. So thanks for showing up. I know Rav here, you're it's like opposite time for you. It's midnight over there for you. So I'm glad you're here. I know you have some questions, so I'll be happy to help you with whatever you need help with, Rav, because I'm here to help you out. And I know we've been on this long journey trying to get you funded. But you're getting better. I noticed that you've been getting better every single day. You're getting a lot more conservative, and you're sticking to the plan a lot better than you have in the past, which means you're growing as a trader. So yeah, I'll give it a few more minutes, guys. Let's see. Hey, Girish, everyone. Void's asking, thinking about your checklist other than the fundamentals, retail percentage, like noon reversal. I'll try to knock those out as much as possible. The problem with that checklist is that I don't really think about that stuff. Like that stuff is kind of just ingrained in my thought process. So I don't trade during certain times. I'll try to make a list of that. If you guys have specific questions, so if you could stimulate my thinking, with regard to you can ask me a question like, hey, when's a bad time to trade? I can come up with responses. It's just, for me, I don't really think about those things because I already know not to trade during those times. So it's kind of second nature to me. But if you guys do ask the questions, obviously I can kind of give you guys some direction as to, when not to trade, when to expect reversals, because it happens the same time every day. And I look at it every single day, so I know when to expect it. So yeah, I'll try to get like as much of a checklist as I can for you, Void, but I might miss some stuff because a lot of the stuff I don't necessarily think of. Like I'm not like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, I shouldn't be trading right now, right? I already know that from like probably 3 to 5 is probably not a good time to trade because this is when the market just opened. You can see right here, price is slowly moving upwards. Um, but then once it hits like 5, that's when the Asia market is like almost fully open, and at that point it might just come right back down. So that's why I usually don't trade around this time. I usually wait until like after 5. Um, and then like from 5 until like 10. At 10, that's when the market starts to move a little weird again too. So I usually only trade from like 5 to 10. And then I usually just take a break and I stop trading for Asia. And then I come back in the morning. So I'll try to go over that stuff as much as possible. But like I mentioned, just drop as many questions that you guys have because this session is going to go on for as long as we have questions. Once we run out of questions, then that'll pretty much be it. But I'm going to try to answer as much as I can, and I'm going to get through as much detail as possible as well. So again, let me scroll down a little bit and see if people are making their way in. Okay, perfect. B's asking if this will be uploaded somewhere. Yeah, so it'll be on the YouTube. So like all the other live sessions, they're all on the YouTube, so they're publicly available. So if you ever want to go back and watch any of the previous mentoring sessions, you can find them on the YouTube. So you just go on the YouTube channel and then you can find pretty much everything there. Here, I'll just show you real quick so that you guys can know where to look just in case you guys aren't familiar with it. So pretty much this is the YouTube right here. You just go to videos and then you'll see all of the previous sessions. So all of the live sessions are here. And then if you go back, pretty much all the ones with the green background are group mentoring sessions. The ones with white background are live trading sessions. So you can see the difference here. These are all live trading sessions for every day of the week. And then group mentoring session right here, one-on-one session right here. I think I had this with Roger about a month ago. And then if you just go down further, you can see some of them are one-on-one sessions. Some of them are group mentoring sessions. So if you ever want to go back, they're all going to be here on the YouTube. So, all right, I think everyone's here. There's not that many people here, but I wasn't really expecting that many people to show up anyways because it's at such a random time. And a lot of people who are trading from the UK or even Australia, this is like opposite time for you guys. So a lot of you guys aren't here. So yeah, no, exactly. Boy, said all the right people are here. So let me scroll up real quick and I'll go from there. So if you guys have questions, just drop your questions in the Zoom and then I'll answer pretty much every question that you guys have. I'll try to be as detailed as possible. Obviously, I'm not trading right now. If I do see something good, I'll mark some stuff up. And if I think I'm going to take it, then I'll let you guys know. Because I have been trading a lot more during Asia session. And this is mostly just for the high-low strategy because I'm just testing it out to see, when does it work best so that we can have something that I can basically point you guys towards. It does seem to work like very well during Asia session. Most of my profits using the strategy are from Asia session. Sometimes I do line them up with the other strategies, but I'll try to just go over that and see where we can go from there. So let me just scroll down a little bit and see what I'm missing. Brian said we had talked yesterday about how you set your buy stop and sell stop for the new 1-minute strategy. Yeah, Brian, of course. So I don't ever set a buy stop, sell stop for entry. The only time I set that is when I'm entering a trade later than actual opening. So I'm not sure if like you caught that when we discussed it. I think you did, but I think there might still be some confusion. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the trade that we took today. Let me see if I can find it because I know we took it earlier today. Let me just go over here real quick. I just want to see what time was that trade taken because that one's a perfect example. Okay, so like right here at 6:45. So let me go back to 6:45 this morning, which was like right here, I believe. Yeah. I'll just rewind it to that specific time period. And I'll show you an example of like when I do set a buy stop, because that's exactly what I did today. And the only reason I've been doing that is because market has just been, it's just been really choppy. So I think this was it right here. Okay, so I'll put the requirements here for the high-low strategy because this is a strategy that we use for that specific entry. I don't necessarily use this all the time. This is only if I'm entering late after the trade's already started. So pretty much this is the rough draft of the high-low strategy. This is probably going to be the official requirements. It's going to take some time for me to actually determine whether there's anything else that needs to be added. I personally don't like adding too many requirements. I like having minimal requirements, and then we have extra confluences on top of that. That's why if you look at certain strategies like the pivot strategy, right? I'm just going to show you this as an example. For this year, there's only two requirements. There's really only two requirements. So it's hard to get to mess this up. But on top of these two requirements, you have extra confirmations. Like you can confirm the fundamental bias, the retail sentiment, and the technical bias, right? Which is not required, but it'll give you a better chance of winning the trade. So this is how I usually like to keep them. However, for this high-low strategy, there has to be more requirements because some people don't understand how to identify swing highs and swing lows. Also, there's just a lot of different, it's a little bit of a more complicated strategy unless you actually know what to look for. So let me just go back to this example here. I'm going to show you exactly when I use the buy stop. So I'm trying to figure out where that entry was again. Let me just pull this up real quick. 645. Okay, this is exactly where it was. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to move this forward a little bit just to show you where the entry came from. Okay, so looking at this part right here, let me just take off the pivots because we don't use the pivots for this strategy. We only use the momentum signals and we don't even use the trend meter. We use the momentum signals and the high lows. Basically the K2 high-low indicator right here that's not yet released to you guys. I was trying to get it out to you guys today, but I just didn't have time in between. We had all that whole issue with the live session today. So after the live session, I just went to focus on my own trades. And that's pretty much how I locked in these profits today. So if you remember this morning, we only locked in a couple trades right here. We locked in the 560 and the 470 right here. And then, I got off the live session. I just traded on my own. I just focused on my own and I made about 4,000 right here, close to 5,000 right after I got off the live session. So I was just trading on my own over here, but showing you exactly what we were looking at here. This is the indicator that you guys are going to need. You don't necessarily need it, but it helps you identify the swing highs and the swing lows. Because the thing is, a lot of people are not really familiar with identifying these swing highs and swing lows. So it becomes a little difficult for people to figure out where's a proper high low, right? Because like, for example, here, some people might see this as the high right here, and this is the low, right? However, this is the actual high because you can see price comes up, it just pulls back a little bit, but it's not really a swing low. It just comes up, comes down, and then comes right back up right here. So this would actually be the swing high. Once you guys have this indicator, which I'm going to try to get to you guys either tonight or within the next couple of days. It's just going to take a while because there's so many of you guys to grant access to, and I have to do it all one by one, especially for a new indicator. So it's going to take me some time to get it up, but once I do get it up, you guys are going to have access to it, which is going to make things a whole lot easier. So going back to the strategy right here, the first requirement is to confirm the previous swing high and swing low. Right here, we have a swing high, and then right here, we have a swing low, right? So once having those right there, in order to confirm the swing high, you want to make sure that 4 or 5 candles pass to establish it. So for example, right here, we have a swing high. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. So once we have those 4 candles, this is officially the swing high. So we just keep moving forward. And then from this point right here, this is still the swing high, right? Because price hasn't broken it yet. So this is still the swing high right here. The second requirement is you want to confirm price break and close past the previous swing. So price needs to break and close above this point right here in order for it to qualify as an entry. We already have the first requirement. Now we need the second requirement. So going over here, you can see that this candle right here broke and closed past it, right? So at that point, we confirm the swing high, which was right here. We confirm the break and close past the previous swing, which is right here. We want to confirm the direction of momentum using the K2 momentum indicator. Right here, we have a valid buy signal. It doesn't need to be a valid signal, but this is a buy signal right here. So we're only looking for buys at this point. For the fourth requirement, you want to make sure that price isn't ranging or consolidating. It was ranging right here, but price broke above it, so it's no longer ranging anymore. Lastly, you just want to confirm that price hasn't touched the previous swing before the break and close. This is the break and close. There's no candles before it that touched the previous swing, right? So with that said, you can enter on the open of the falling candle, which would be right here. And this goes back to the example that you were asking for, Brian. So Brian was asking, when do I set a buy stop? The only time I set a buy stop is if I'm entering the trade late. So what happened with this here is that this looked like a risky trade. And I think the reason for that was because the London low was right here. So this became risky because one of two things could have happened. Price could have broke above it, or price could have rejected below it, right? So looking at this right here, we saw that price actually came down from that point. So this is why I was worried about taking the trade. So what I did was I set a buy stop at this point right here. So when price swings back up, it'll automatically fill my order and I'll have my TP set already. So that's when I set a buy stop. I never set a buy stop just to set up a buy stop. I set a buy stop only if I'm looking to enter the trade late. Because right here, I went into drawdown. I could have entered late down here and got some sort of a discount. However, I never do that. So right here, I set a buy stop. And well, TP stop loss would have been down here. But it obviously, we weren't in the trade yet. That's why I set the buy stop, because I knew this was going to come down. Usually it rejects off the London low. And then what happened at this point, this is where my buy stop was set. You can see price never came back up, so it hasn't filled my buy stop yet, right? In order for my buy stop to get filled, price needs to go up here. And then when it pushes past this point, then my order gets filled. Technically right now, it's just a pending order. And then at this point, price came right back up. This is where it filled when it pushed up. And then right after that, it went straight to TP. And that's how I locked in the profit right here. So as you guys can see, this was a trade right here. And then this was the profit that I made off that trade right there. There was like some slippage going on. So I only locked in like 270 here. It should have been like 1,000. But what happened was it was moving so fast. So it hit it right there. And then also this one right here, I locked in like 470. You can see a huge difference between the profit, right? There's like 270 here and 470 here when it was technically supposed to be about 1,000 in profit. So that's the only time that I set a buy stop. I don't set a buy stop just for, to enter the trade. I set a buy stop when I'm entering it late. So hopefully that makes sense to you, Brian, but that's the only time I set a buy stop. I never set it prior because I'm not trying to get a trade. I'm not entering a trade at that point. This was supposed to be the entry point, but I entered late because I let it pull back a little bit and I shot up. When it shot up, I entered it. So that's when the buy stop would be used. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, perfect. So that answers Brian's question. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to fan here. It's too hot. All right, cool. So there goes the question for Brian right there. Let me go over and see what's next. So I'm done with Brian's question. The next question is from Delmas. So let me just clean this up real quick. Go back to normal charts. There's an entry right here. This is technically a sell entry, but sorry guys, let me just check this real quick before we move along to 1, 2, 3, 4. This technically would be a sell entry. Let me look at the sentiment. 68% short, currently bullish. I don't think I'm going to take it. It didn't even close below it, so there's no longer an entry there anyways. This is low, and this is the high. So I'll be looking for trades while we're on here, but main focus is going to be answering these questions. So the next question over here is from Delmas. Let's see, Delmas's question is, outside of the rules for the 1 minute and 2 minute pivot scalps, I don't trade the 2 minute, Delmas, so I'm not sure where you got that one from, but I generally trade the 1 minute or the 3 minute. You can trade the 2 minute if you want, but I never trade the 2 minute, so I'm not sure if that was a typo, or if there might have been an issue to I don't know, maybe Delmas said it was just typo. But yeah, okay, so one of your question, I'll just read it out loud. Delmas's question is, outside the rules for the 1 minute and 2 minute pivot scalps, can you point out some additional things to look at before taking those trades to better help with accuracy? I can point out some of my losses for you to look at if you like. I'm trying to get more consistent with the win rate and with the stop loss being so big you lose one trade and you have to win 2 or 3 times to break even. Yeah, no, exactly, of course. So we'll try to go over the checklist here to show you exactly what I look for. Okay, so it was a typo. So going up right here, let me just go back and and give you guys my checklist. So basically, I'll try to make this as comprehensive as possible, but I mean, obviously there's gonna be a lot of things here that I don't necessarily look at, that I just, I look at without even thinking about it. So I'll just do a checklist over here of what I look at when I checklist. Let's see, trade checklist. So first, if it's available, I look at the fundamental analysis, or yeah, I'll look at the fundamental analysis for bias, and for that I'll look at the daily average and futures data. I mean, depending on like when the time is, like for right now it's Asia session, so there's not really much available. So I mean, you'd only be looking at the futures data because the average isn't available right now. Next, we'll look at retail sentiment analysis for bias. Third, I'll look at technical bias or technical analysis for bias. Fourth, check news. Other than that, I don't think there's really much to look at. I mean, it's pretty simple. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I look at, but that's pretty much all that I look at there. Another thing that you might, well, because there's a lot of things that fall under technical analysis, right? It's not just like the trend. There's like certain things. So maybe I could put like specific things here. Trying to figure out. Okay, so I'll just do this. I'll do like a little drop down over here, so that you guys can kind of see what do I mean by, fundamental analysis and the other stuff that I look at, because a lot of this stuff is just second nature to me. I don't really think about what's the difference between daily average and future data, looking at retail sentiment. There isn't going to be like a full number for this because it's just going to be where it's more one-sided. Or we could do like over. People keep going late. Okay, let's see. Over 60%. Long or short. Technical bias. Trend. Trend via pivots. Trend via K2 trend meter. What else do I look at? I also look at previous session high lows. What else do I look at? I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Previous session high lows. I know there's something else that I look at. Probably liquidity zones. I mean, it just depends, if it's there. That's why like a lot of these things here, I don't necessarily look at all the time unless like they're there, because they're not always going to be there. Sometimes there's not going to be an overall trend. Sometimes there's going to be liquidity zones. Sometimes there isn't. But I'll try to be, as comprehensive as I can with regard to the things that I look for. So I think that's pretty much it for the most part. Maybe it's a little bigger, maybe. I forgot the size it was left at. I'll just do 24. Okay, so I think this is pretty much all that I really look at. There's not really much to look at, right? It's not like, I feel like a lot of people think there's a lot of things that I look at when I'm looking for things, but there isn't really much necessarily. It's the same thing that I look at during New York session. It's just during Asia session, it's not always going to be there. So like daily average isn't going to be there during Asia. Other than that, I think that's all that's really not going to be there. So anyways, I think that's it for here. So what I'll do here is it's kind of hard for me to look for something unless there's an entry available. So let's see, there's technically an entry available right here. However, this isn't a trade that I would take, because if you guys remember from the beginning, I usually don't trade. Or here's another thing. check news, and then confirm market time. So there's like certain times where I don't trade. I generally don't trade trying to think, because I don't even trade London session. Usually like 1-2 hours. It's like every couple of seconds, so much. Whenever you guys hear the clicking noise, it's like someone trying to get into the Zoom. So 1-2 hours before and on London Open. That's like, or here, I'll do this from like, but the problem with this right here is that these time zones aren't going to work for you. So you got to make sure that you're using Pacific time. So I generally don't trade after 10 p.m. Pacific time. Between 12 a.m. and I think maybe around 2 a.m. I don't really trade around this time, but if I'm up during that time, I don't trade around that time. So I'll just do this right here, actually. I think this will actually work better because this time just overlaps here, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. between 6 a.m. 6:30, because this is New York Stock Exchange open. Between 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. And then it just wraps around. Okay, so, and this is all Pacific time. So you guys got to make sure that you're doing it based off. And guys, like a lot of people ask me, okay, what's that my time zone? Guys, just Google it. Like a lot of people want me to figure out what the time is for their time zone. I don't know, because I don't know where you live. You'd have to go, like, it's so simple. Let me just show you guys here, because like I get this question a lot. Whenever I tell you guys it's Pacific time, someone always asks me, what is it UK time, or what is it Australia time? I don't know, because I'm not a clock. What I would do here is just go to Google and go to time zone converter. Like, I don't mind helping you guys with this, but a lot of this stuff that people need help with, you can literally Google it or YouTube it. Some people will need help with MT4. I don't know how to use MT4 myself, so I can't help you guys with that stuff. So just Google time zone converter, and you can click on literally any of these links. So if it says Pacific time right here, right, 10 p.m. Pacific time. And it's just funny that I have to like explain this to people, but it might get okay. So 10 p.m. Pacific time, right? Just do Pacific time. And wherever you're located over here, you can type in your city. I don't know if you're located in London, type in London. If you're located at 6 a.m. London, if you're located in Australia or Sydney or wherever, that's 4 p.m. for you, right? Just use a time zone converter, guys. Because I keep getting a lot of questions where a lot of people like want me to like do literally everything for them, right? Like they want me to calculate what's 2 times 2 for them. Just open your calculator and figure it out. And I don't mind doing that, guys, but the problem with that is like that time could be spent helping other people answer like real questions versus, you know, how do I use MT4? I personally don't know how to use it myself. So if you need help using MT4, like guys, you go to google.com and then you type in how to use MT4. There's videos here, how to use MT4. There's like a ton of tutorials here. Like I would help you if I knew how to use it myself, but I only know how to use the basic functions. I don't know how to use everything. I don't even use it for any actual charting. I just use it to execute my trades. So I don't know how to use MT4. Your best bet would go on Google and just Google it. Or if you guys need help with other, like there's other stuff, like people ask me about the broker, like a broker I've never heard of. Like I think someone asked me about FP broker or something like that. I've never even heard of that broker. So if I go to FP broker, you can like literally, yeah, see, like I've never heard of this broker coming before, and someone was asking me like so many questions about the specific broker, which I've never heard of. So if you have questions for that broker, you can go to your broker website, and I'm sure they have some sort of messaging thing here where you can get help, right? There's live support right here. You can go and just click that and you can type in your name and ask the question there. Cause I've never heard of this broker. I've never used him before. So I can't help you guys. I'll help you guys with what I know and what I can help you with, but I can't help you guys with brokers I've never heard of, or, you know, what your lot size is for your broker if I've never heard your broker before. So, you know, just what I'm trying to get across to you guys is to put some effort into finding answers to your own questions before you ask me, because I don't mind helping you guys with questions, but if it's something that I obviously don't have any experience with, I can't help you with it. And that's just, you know, me making sure that you guys are actually doing your part in trying to figure out what exactly you guys need help with, because I'll help you guys with what I can, but I can't help you guys with everything. And with FTMO, right? Like, people ask me questions about FTMO like every day. Like, people ask me, oh, when's the payout? How much do they pay out? You know, what account size do you have? Guys, go to ftmo.com. There's a button right here. It says live chat. You type in your name, your email. I'll even do it for you right now, Sean. Let's just be Sean at KT Trades, and I'll show you how easy it is to ask them any question. Right, you type that in and look what happens. Calling online representative, and then it'll come up right over here. This is how easy it is to ask questions. I mean, it's not working right now because I think I'm on this live right now, so it's not going through. But if you click on this right here, let me just refresh it again. And people ask me questions about MFF too. I've never used MFF. I have no experience using MFF, so I can't even help you with that even if I wanted to. It's not working on my end right now because I think I'm on this live session, so it's not going. But if you click on the button right there, it usually just goes straight through. Or let me just click on that and see if that helps. Yeah, it's not working on mine because I have like so many things running on my computer right now. But that's how easy it is, guys. If you click on this, a chat window will come up and then you can talk to them. And you can ask them whatever questions you want. You want to ask them what lot sizes to use, you can probably ask them and they'll answer for you. And I don't mind helping you guys with that, but a lot of that stuff can just be asked, you know, directly to wherever you guys need help with. So other than that, let's see. Okay, so let me just scroll up real quick. And then let me get back to my response here. Okay, so this is a question from Delmas. Delmas was asking what is my checklist, my trade checklist. So the first thing I look at is fundamental analysis. Right now we're in Asia session, so the averages aren't available. This was from earlier today. The market's closed now, so you can see the last time it updated was about like 5 hours ago. Right here, you can still look at the futures data though. This is always open. So what I look at first is I look at the fundamentals. I look to see where price currently is, right? A lot of people do see how this works, but the market is currently closed. So when the market's closed, volatility is very low, and you're not going to see this move very much. So this is going to be one thing that you look at. If it's green, it's not going to be 100 points. Well, most of the time it's not going to, unless price is really moving. But during Asia session, it's not really moving too much because the market's technically closed for, you know, full volatility and like full market. Right now, it's just after hours. It's futures markets. It's and the data is also delayed. It'll tell you here when it was updated, which is about 7:25. That's like it's literally right now, or it's 10 minutes ago. So it hasn't been that long. If you refresh it, it's right there. So 7:25 right here. It's 4:35 here. That's Eastern time is 3 hours ahead of mine. So this has been updated 10 minutes ago, which is not that long ago. So first thing I look at is fundamental analysis. The daily average isn't available, so I'll go to the futures data right here. I'll be looking at this, and this looks bullish to me, right? Because it's green. It's not very strong, but it's still green. So the bias for this currently is bullish for me. However, this doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to trade only for buys. This is just giving me a hint and giving me a confidence that, hey, you should probably be looking for buys, not for sells. Next up, I look at retail sentiment. So I go over here to the retail sentiment, and then I refresh this right here. It's currently 68% short, right? It's not very strong on the short side. If it's like over 75%, then yeah, it's going to be a bit stronger. But right now it's only 68%. So with that said, your confluences and your confirmations aren't going to be very strong. They're still going to be beneficial because you'll know where to be trading right here. If there's a lot of retail traders short, then odds are price is probably going to be going up. However, the price is probably not going to be going up, that quickly. You're going to see price move like 10 pips, right? Or 30 pips, which is not much. And a lot of people can't even trade during Asia session because your spread's too wide. If you're trading with MFF, don't even think about trading during Asia session because your spread's like 360. So let me show you why you shouldn't be trading MFF during Asia session. So in order for you to even make any profit, like $1 profit, you would have to be in like price would have to move this much for you to make a penny in profit off MFF. Like you see how big of a move this is? This is how big the spread is. So when you enter this trade, you're already negative, like way down here. So say if you entered a trade right now on my Forex fund or whatever it's called, MFF, if you enter a trade right now, you would enter for a buy and your trade would be down here because you have to cover the spread first. So if you're on MFF, don't even bother trading US 30 during Asia session. It's not worth it. It's nearly impossible for you to make any profit because we're only going for a 100 pip move. And if you're trying to go for this, you need to make 460 pips just to make a penny in profit. So don't even bother doing it. I've done it before. It's horrible. You're going to be stressed out all throughout Asia session because price doesn't even move that much sometimes. Like if you think about it, this is how big the range is. So don't even bother trading on MFF if you're going to trade Asia session because this is how big the spread is generally. For FTMO, the spread is still kind of wide. Here, let me just check real quick. The spread is about, it's not even that wide. It's maybe like 100 or 200 pips. So the difference between MFF spread and FTMO is a landslide. It's like this much. So this is why I can trade FTMO during or it's not even this much. It's like maybe less than this. It's about, let's see, it's like it's around here. It's between here and I don't know, 200. So for example, right here, if I'm going to enter a trade, like if I wanted to enter a buy right now on FTMO, I would be in the negative right here. So say you try to enter like right now, you hit a market for a buy, your price is going to be, your entry is going to be right here because of the spread. You got to cover the spread, and then after you cover the spread, then you'll make some profit off it. So this is why it's kind of difficult to trade during Asia session unless like you really know what you're doing. And I don't really recommend anyone do it unless like you're confident that price is going to go in that direction. This is why you got to be very careful with which direction you decide to trade because you can end up on the wrong side of the market very easily. But yeah, these are the difference of spreads comparing FTMO to MFF during Asia session. So going back to the checklist over here, we've already went over fundamentals. We've gone over retail sentiment. It's currently 60% short right now, or 68%, and the bias is bullish. So we're probably going to be looking for buys at this point. So with that said, those are the first two requirements. The third requirement is going to be confirming the trend using the K2 pivots. So looking at the technical analysis, you want to look at multiple things. You want to look at the trend using the pivots. You want to look at the trend using the trend meter. You want to make sure that you're not trading near the previous swing highs and lows. And then in some instances, if the retail sentiment is like 80% short or like 75, somewhere like really heavy, you can start using liquidity zones, but they're not available right now. So anyways, going over here real quick, I'll go over here and I'll show you exactly what I'm looking for. So first of all, you want to make sure you confirm the trend using the K2 pivots. So right here, price is above the pivots, or I mean, it's like right down the middle. So there's no real bias right now for the 1 minute. But in order for the bias to be bullish, price would have to be above the pivots or it'd be below. Bullish bias, bearish bias. Going over to the 3 minute, price is below right here, right? So with price below, this is a bearish bias. 10 minute over here, where's price? Below the pivots, it's a bearish bias. Right here on the 1 minute, it's below the pivots, it's a bearish bias. So looking at this right here, this would probably give you an indecisive analysis, right? Comparing it to the futures data or the fundamentals. So looking at the fundamentals, we were looking for buy here, right? Prior to everything else, we were looking for buy because retail sentiment was short. meaning there's a lot more retail traders on the short side. And then for the futures data, it's currently bullish. So we were looking for a buy here. However, looking at the technicals right here, it's currently bearish because it's below the pivots on all these time frames. So what I would do is I would wait for price to make its way above the pivots so that we can confirm that everything lines up, right? This is why I win almost every trade, because I wait for the perfect entry. I don't just enter whenever. I wait for a perfect entry to come. So looking at the fundamentals here, I'm looking for a buy, right? In order for me to take a buy here for the technicals, I need price to be above the pivots on all of those time frames. And I think that's a problem that a lot of people have. They're not patient enough, right? You can't wait for it to give you that perfect entry and you just enter like any trade that you see. So what I do here is I look to make sure everything is bullish before I take any buys, because I always go through fundamentals and retail sentiment first. So a lot of people want to ask, they always ask me like, hey, can I watch you trade Asia session? And I'm like, no, because I'm not trying to be on the computer with you guys for like 6 hours, because I'm not on here just waiting for a trade. I'm like literally checking periodically. Like right now I'm looking at it, there's no trade here. So obviously I'm not going to be looking for any trades. I'll come back in like 2 hours. In 2 hours, if price is up here, then I'm going to be looking for trades, but price is currently not here. So I don't want to be on the live session with you guys for like, I don't know, God knows how long. Like, I don't know when is this going to come above here. It's like, let's see, it's like 1600 hours right now. I can literally be waiting here for like 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, and it probably still won't be up there. So I'm not on the computer all day. I'm literally just coming on like every couple hours, and I'm like, okay, is price finally above here? Then I can start looking for buys. If price isn't up here, I'm not going to look for any buys. Sometimes I'll check every couple hours. There will be no entries. Then I'll check like at 9 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, perfect. Price is finally above here, so I can start looking for buys. And that's when I take trades. Like once like the market gives me what I need, then I'll start taking trades in that direction. So that's another confirmation there. So going back to the list over here, sorry, I just find it so funny because people always like everyone's always hitting me up to trade during Asia session, but I don't have a session. I don't have like a time period where I trade. I like literally wait. Well, I don't even wait. I'll check at 4 and I'm like, okay, nothing's here. I'll go like play PlayStation or something. I'll come back and then like I'll go play Call of Duty with like Tommy or something. We'll come back like 2 or 3 hours later, and the perfect trade is there, and that's when I take the trade. But there's no specific time. It's not like New York session where you can just be waiting for an hour and waiting for a perfect entry. The Asia session doesn't work like that. It's different. It's very slow. I know a lot of people have been trading other assets during this time, which could work. It's just I like trading US 30, so I just wait for the trade to come here. So there goes the first technical analysis bias for the K2 pivots. The next one is the trend meter. So looking at the trend meter right here, you can see that the trend meter just turned green, right? So it was blue, which meaning it was indecisive. Now it's green. Going over to the 3-minute, it's currently blue right now, but if price swings above, it's probably going to turn green as well. Looking at the 10-minute over here, price has got a long way to get above here, right? So it's still currently red because it's currently bearish, but when it does make its way up like it did over here, it'll turn green. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. So at this point right now, I wouldn't be looking for any trades. The other requirement is to look at the previous swings or the previous session high lows. There's nothing that's nearby right now off the 1 minute. Closest one is down here. This is the New York low. The next one is the London high, which is up here. So if I just move over here, you can see price is currently right here. I just want to make sure that price isn't close to these session high lows, because what happens when price gets near these session high lows is you can see exactly what happens here, right? Price comes down, tests it, and then it just bounces off. So you don't want to trade around that area. Same with like the London low over here, right? Price will come down, test it right here, and then bounce right off it. So that's another requirement that I look at right there as well. Let me go back to my list over here. All right, so I think I pretty much looked at everything there. So basically, previous session high lows, and then lastly, liquidity zones. I mean, obviously right now there's no liquidity zones because the bias isn't that strong. The past couple of days though, the bias was like really strong. Like if you looked at the retail sentiment during Asia session, it was like 80%. So that's where I was making a lot of my trades as well. Like if you look at my trade, let me see my profits over here. So let me just go over here real quick. Okay, so majority of my trades here were buys, right? They were pretty much all buys. And this is all during HS session as well. And the reason for that is because retail sentiment was super short. It was like 80% short. So what I was doing here is I was waiting for price to swing up. So let me see where HS session was yesterday, which was like, oh yeah, it was like right here. Okay, so basically during HS session right here, what I was doing was I was identifying these liquidity zones. So this is exactly where I took these trades at. So you can see this is on 26th Asia session, like 1800 hours. You can see my profits right here around that time period, right? Made like 1,000 there, 1,000 there, a couple $100 here, etc. What I was doing here is I was drawing liquidity zones. So I use this as an extra example. Like say, for example, if I'm looking for a buy, I'll draw liquidity zones here. And then if price triggers these liquidity zones, this gives me a better confirmation that price is, likely to continue pushing that direction. So I'll just draw there's like a lot of zones here, but all right, we'll just use this as an example. So looking at this right here. All right, so at this point right here, we have a sell signal, right? We have another liquidity zone right here. What I'm looking for at this point is if I get a buy signal here, let me go back and pull my, yeah, so far off. See if I can find it somehow. Whatever, I can't find it. Anyways, just going back to this point right here. So what I mean by looking at liquidity zones is I'll have it marked up. So if I get a buy signal over here, let me see if I can find one. All right, price is bouncing around. Buy signal, it's not valid though. It's below the pivot, so it's not valid. Okay, perfect, like right here. All right, so I get a buy signal right here. The bias is bullish, right? Because 10 meters green, it's above the pivots, everything kind of lines up. The bias was a buy for the fundamentals. It was also retail sentiment was like 80% short. So all of those requirements were all met. Plus, I looked at the technicals. I looked at liquidity zone right here. Price is pushing above the liquidity zone, right? So what I'm anticipating from this point is I'm anticipating a push to the upside. So what I would do is I would take this trade here and I would just let it run. I mean, it took some time, but I probably wouldn't let it run that far though. Like this is too big of a move because it's Asia session. So normally for Asia session, my range is going to be between 100 pips, which would be right here, or even less than that, 50 pips. So I'm going between 50 pips and 100 pips. So I probably would have been out of this trade already right here. And I would have just pulled out. So that's the other requirement that I was just referring to. So let me just go over here real quick. And that's pretty much, I'll just take a copy of that. I'm going to clear everything off the chart. And then I'll put it right here. So that's pretty much all that I look for, Delmas. I don't know if there's anything else that you are looking for, but this is literally all that I look for. I don't really look for too much. And this is pretty much the list there. So other than that, let's see. All right, so I think that's it for this right here. So I don't know if there's any other questions from you, Dalmas, but let me see. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any follow-up questions from you. So hopefully that helps with your question there. But I think that's pretty much it. That's my checklist for like what I look for. And you know what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna copy this and put it in my notes somewhere as well. Because I know there's gonna be like other people asking for this as well in the future. Just copy this real quick. All right. So there we go with the trade checklist. All right, so that's it. Let me just scroll up real quick and I'll see what else is over here. Delmas is asking, can you rewind to New York, for example? What example are you looking for, Delmas? Because the thing is, if we're going to rewind to New York, I mean, depending on what you want me to look at, we can't look at fundamentals, so we can't go and back test it because this is closed right now. The futures data, we can't go back in time. It's going to be what it currently is. And the retail sentiment's the same as well. So if you want me to analyze a trade and look at everything here, it's impossible. I can't do it because you need to ask for that like at that specific time period. So like if you have something that you want me to analyze, you got to ask me like at that specific time, and hopefully I'm available to check it out for you. But we can't go back and analyze an old trade because there's no way to do it unless there is. I mean, unless you can go back in time and try to figure out, and I'm just messing with you, but you know, we can't go back and analyze that because all of these here, the daily average is going to be what the average is right now. We can't go back in time to see what the average was, you know, 10 hours ago. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't go back and answer that for you, Delmas, but if you do ever have a question like that, try to ask me and I'll see if I can get back to you. Usually, if you're going to get back to me after hours, I'm probably not going to get back to you right away because I have like other things to do. I have like a lot of emails to go through and other questions to answer. But if you ever do have a question, you know, just try to reach out to me and I'll try to get back to you if possible. So, all right, next question. Let me go back up real quick. Next question is, yeah, Void. So hopefully this helps with your question too. Is what I think you were asking earlier. Let me see what your question was. Oh, it's a checklist. Yeah, so here's the checklist. Actually, you and Delmas asked the same question. So here's the checklist for you here if you want to copy it. Later on, if you want to rewatch this, you can always just pause it and then copy it from there. Or just remind me in the group later, guys, like after we're done, and then I can just post it in the group. All right. So, Delmas, so I'm not going to go over the new strategy yet. So I know you guys want me to go over the new strategy, but the strategy is not even ready. So I'm not going to go over the new strategy at all today. If you guys want questions about that, I'm not going to go over it because I don't want to teach you guys one way. And then next week when I actually explain to you guys, it's going to be different, right? So I'm not going to go over the new strategy yet. The only things I'm going over today, guys, are official things. I'm going over what I actually look at and the strategies that are already out. Because I know people keep like bugging about the new strategy, but the answer is always going to be the same. I'm not going to teach it to you guys yet because it's not ready. Until it's ready, then I'll teach it to you guys, but it's not ready yet. So definitely, I'm not going to be going over that new strategy today. I'll give out the indicator maybe today or tomorrow or sometime this week, but the actual strategy, we're not going over any of that stuff today. This is just a mentoring session for what's already available. So let me go up real quick and see what else is next. Hassan's asking, can you go over what strategy you set alerts for and how do you set them? I don't set alerts for anything, Hassan. The only thing that I have alerts for are the momentum signals. I don't have alerts set for any specific strategies. I just because most of the strategies are based off the momentum indicator. So let me just go over here real quick and I'll put all of the strategies, or I'll just go to a clean chart over here, or actually I'll do that. It's a lot easier. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just move this stuff over, and I'm going to put pretty much all of the main strategies that we apply during the live session, because that's the ones that you guys are familiar with. And I'll show you where a lot of them are, well, not a lot of them, but like all of them, literally, they're all pretty much looking for the same thing. So if you look at all the strategies here, you're going to see there's one common thing that lines up with every single strategy here. So not that. Let me go over here real quick. So I'll literally open every strategy here. Sorry, I keep opening that same one. 3 minute. So weird. Why do I have both set up? I have two of them set up with the same name. So that high-low scalp. Snipe. And the other strategies are just variations to this as well. So like, if you guys look at all these strategies here, if you guys can see exactly what's the same thing for all of them, it's a valid K2 momentum signal, right? So that's the only thing that I set an alert for, because that's all I need, right? I don't need alerts for all this other stuff. If I see a momentum signal like one direction, then I can go check on that chart and I can see if there's an entry in that direction. So, you know, if I was to delete everything off here, or I'm not gonna delete everything, I'll just draw lines over them. Or actually, no, I take that back. I can't draw lines over them because they're going to overlap. But let me see if I can just do this. No, it's not going to work. So here, I'm just going to show you guys. So look at the first requirement here for the pivot scalp strategy. Valid K2 momentum signal. Look at the requirement here for the daily entry. Valid K2 momentum signal. Look at the daily strategy. First, valid K2 momentum signal. 3-minute pivot strategy, valid momentum signal. High-low scalp strategy. Trading in the direction of the momentum. So you need the momentum signal for that as well. 10-minute snipe. Confirm the direction of momentum. Same as the high-low scalp. So in order to take any of these trades, you need a momentum signal, right? So all I have alerts set for are the momentum signals. So like looking at this right here, it's all literally just momentum signals. These right here, let me just delete these because these are old. So full TP, full TP. I think there was a daily entry running today. I didn't even follow up with that. I don't know who took the daily entry today, but if you did, I think it's still currently running because I do have an alert that's still pending for that one, or it actually already hit. All right, yeah, so the daily entry today, if anyone took it, it hit full TP. I didn't take it. It came at 7 o'clock or 7:20 today. You know, applying the strategy right here. First valid K2 momentum signal after market open was a sell, and it hit full TP right there at about lunchtime today. I don't know why the alerts didn't trigger, but let me just delete those. All right. So yeah, looking at this right here, Hassan, the only alerts I have set are for the 1-minute momentum, 3-minute momentum, and 10-minute momentum. Those are pretty much the only ones that I use. I don't have anything set to any specific strategy. I just look for momentum signal. Say if I get a 1-minute, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the 1-minute and I'm going to look for entries off the 1-minute. If I get a 3-minute signal, I'll pull up the 3-minute and I'll look for entries off here as well. If I have a 10-minute, I'll go over here and I'll look for some snipe entries. That's pretty much all that I do for the most part. So those are the only things that I have alerts for. And if you ever want to set them up, you just click on alert up here, click this, drop down to K2TS or K2 momentum, whichever one you have set up. If you're an older member, yours is called K2TS. If you're a new member, it's going to say K2 momentum. It's the same thing, just a different name. I'll click this down right here. I'll go to K2 signal fired. If you want a specific one for a buy or a sell, then you can just set it to buy or sell. If you want one for both the directions, you just put signal fired and you'll get an alert whenever you get a buy or a sell. Right here for your options, you can have it set to however you want it. If you want it only once, then have it set to only once per bar. This is going to give you a signal even though it hasn't closed. If you want one only when it closes, once per bar close. That's pretty much it. Down here, you'll set the alert. So if you have it for the 10-minute, you'll type in, I don't know, K2 10-minute momentum signal. And that's how you'll have access to this alert here off the 10-minute. If you want a 3-minute, you got to go on the 3-minute chart and then do the same thing here. In order to set alerts for each specific time frame, you have to set a separate alert. So one for 10-minute, one for 3-minute, one for 1 minute. And that's pretty much how you would set it up. And I think that's about it. So that's pretty much all that we've got there. So other than that, yeah, Hassan, if you have any other questions to follow up with what I just covered, go ahead and drop your question in the chat. I'll wait like a few seconds. If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to move on to the next question. All right, perfect. So there you go, Hassan. Feel like I help you with that one. Let's go to the next question over here. Okay, let's scroll over here real quick. Girish said, I still haven't figured out what's the best way to trade US 30, LOL. I don't have MT4 or FTMO. Sorry, Girish, I don't even know what your question's asking. You don't know how to, you haven't figured out I mean, there's no best way to trade. It's all the same thing. They're all trading platforms. If you have MT4, it's a trading platform. If you have TradingView, it's a trading platform. If you have TD Ameritrade, they're all trading platforms. It doesn't make a difference which one you trade on. I think you're focused on the wrong things. You're focused on trying to figure out what's the best platform, but the platform doesn't matter. You can execute the same trade, whether it be MT4, whether it be TradingView, whether it be Thinkorswim, whether it be NinjaTrader, whether it be, I don't know, whatever you want to use. I'm trying to like, if you're still here, if you have like a specific question, I can help you with it, but I don't know like how to help you with that there. And you've been asking this question for like a while now. And I've given you all of the options available. So not sure exactly how to help you with it, because I pointed you towards TradeStation. I don't know if you tried using them, because I see your other response here. You said, I'm looking to trade this through TradingView. If you want to trade through TradingView, then you have to use a TradingView broker, obviously. So let me just go over here and see if I could. Here, let me just see this real quick. TradingView. I mean, I gave you the only broker that I could recommend to you, so I don't know what else to tell you with regard to brokers, because I've pretty much told you exactly what to do. And that's all that I can recommend. I told you TradeStation right here. There's other brokers here. You can use Tradeovate, you can use AMP, you can use, and it tells you exactly what you can trade on them, right? It says right there, futures. US 30 is a future, an indice is a future. So I don't know if you know that, but they're the same thing. It's just the indice follows the future. Future is like the raw data. So if you want to trade the actual asset, it's the future. The indice just follows it. It's basically a mirror of the actual future. So if you want to trade it on TradingView, you can use Tradeovate, you can use AMP. And this is like another thing I was referring to earlier, guys. Like, this is something that I can't really help you with, because I've already given you all the options to use. If you don't want to use any of the options that I've given you, you have to go do your own research and figure out what you want to use. Because I've already told you TradeStation. Other people who use TradeStation, it works perfectly fine. But if you don't like it, then I mean, I can't really help you with that, right? Yeah, Girish, I'm trying to trade it through TradingView. I will try and figure it out. Yeah, I mean, you can, like, it's the same thing that I said before. Like, if you want to go get help with this, Girish, you have to go on the web, because we talked about this on that same session. I'm not TradeStation, right? I can't tell you exactly how to use TradeStation. I don't use TradeStation myself, so I can't tell you exactly what to use. If you have any questions with how to use TradeStation, I'm sure there's like something here to teach you, right? Like, this is a well-established broker. You want answers fast? There you go, Girish. Learn more right here. Ask your virtual assistant. You can go right here. All right, ask them a question. How to use TradeStation, right? You can do that, Girish. You literally go here. The chat's offline right now, but you can see, like I just went here, how to use TradeStation. They have a whole web-based platform right here. They have an iOS app. They have instructional videos. So there's like a lot of resources here. It's just that you haven't gone and actually done the work to like learn it, right? So like I literally just went on the website. I looked for help, and your whole thing is like right here already with this. So if you want to go figure out how to use this, it's very simple. You know, you just have to go and actually figure out. It's a 40-minute video right here, learning TradeStation. It's a whole video right here, Gary. So if you want to go watch it, everything here is explained. So there should be no reason for you having an issue finding a broker or figuring out how to use it. But like, literally everything is here. If you want to contact them directly, they'll be available tomorrow, I'm sure. But yeah, I mean, I'll try to help you as much as I can, Girish, but I can only help you so much until until I'm out of ways to help you with TradeStation specifically, because I don't use them myself, so I can't necessarily tell you exactly what to do. All right, so next question here. Let me scroll up a little bit and see what else I'm missing. All right. All right, Brian's question here is asking, my question was regard to the high-low strategy. Guys, I'm not going to go over that strategy, so no questions for the high-low until it's actually done. So if I see any questions with the high-low, I'm going to skip over them, because obviously, you know, I've already told you guys before, I'm not going to go over that strategy because it's not ready yet. Once it's ready, I can go over it, but until it's ready, I'm not going to be answering any questions. And you guys don't have the indicator to even begin with, so you guys can't even apply it yourself. You guys have the requirement, so if you guys want to try it yourself, go ahead and feel free. But you know, you're taking those trades at your own risk, because you don't even know what the requirements are, and you don't know what are the specific high-low points to be using without the indicator here. I know you guys can eyeball it, but I've seen a lot of people eyeball it and eyeball it incorrectly. So I would recommend just waiting. There's no need to rush it. I mean, yeah, I know you guys see my profits every day, but I'm still testing it. So like with the testing, I still suffer losses, right? I had 2 losses right here. One loss right here for 3,000, another loss for 3,000. I was testing the strategy out. And I'm taking these losses to figure this stuff out so that when you guys actually learn it, you don't have those same issues as me. I mean, obviously my profits have been really good, but these losses were actually not even from the high-low strategy. This is from the variation. And the variation is something that I'm probably not going to be teaching you guys because it's a lot more riskier. All right, so next question here is going to be from Ellis. Ellis is asking, when I see a large drop but miss the signal, would you recommend jumping in, or do you have tips on doing so? No, I don't recommend jumping in late. You should never chase a trade. If you chase a trade, you're probably going to lose that trade because it's going to reverse on you as soon as you enter. So if you miss the trade, you miss the trade. You got to wait for the next one. All right, question from Hassan. Hassan's asking, can you show us how you would start trading a new instrument using your strategies? So Hassan, you got to be a little more detailed with your question because there's multiple strategies. So I mean, it depends on which strategy you're referring to. Also, I don't know what you mean by new instrument because I only trade US 30. So I'm not going to go and trade NASDAQ if I don't know how to trade NASDAQ, or S&P if I don't trade S&P, right? So I can help you with your question, Hassan, but I need like specifics. Like I need you to tell me exactly what instrument you're talking about, what strategy you want me to use. There's no best time to trade, right? You could trade whenever. It works all throughout the day, and your TP stop loss is going to depend on the time frame. So I have like a bunch of questions for you. What instrument, what strategy, what time frame, when you plan on trading? There's like a lot of specifics that you need to provide for me so that I can show you an example. But I mean, that's an open-ended question, right? I can literally tell you, show you something, and it's going to be completely opposite of like what you're looking for. So yeah, Dell's question here. Dell said, but didn't you do the variation on those losses? Yeah, Dell. So these losses here are actually not from the high-low strategy. These losses are from the variation. Some of you guys know what the variation is. Some of you guys don't. I've been applying it. Like a lot of these profits here are like from both. So like not these specifically, but let me show you. So these are all using the high-low where they're just, straight buys. But when you see like my profits, I think from last week, like you can see all my profits here. These are like pretty much all buys, right? When I'm trading like in both directions, that's usually me applying the variation. I haven't been applying it that much lately because it hasn't been very accurate, but like from last week, right? Last week I was taking buys and I was taking sells. So I was taking variation trades and I was also taking high-low strategy entries. So there's 2 of them right here. I mean, whenever they're like crossing over, like here, right? So like this entire time, I was taking both buys and sells because I was taking buys for the high-low strategy and I was taking sells for the variation. So I would take a buy and I take variation. I just double up on my profit. They were working really well like last week, but then this week they were kind of choppy. That's why I don't really look forward to teaching you guys that strategy specifically because it is risky. But all the other wins here are from the high lows. They all have been like not guaranteed wins, but for the most part, almost guaranteed. So yeah, Adele, thanks for clearing that up because I didn't want people to think exactly what what exactly was going on with those specific losses because they're not from the high-low strategy. Hassan's follow-up is I'm just trying to figure out how I would go about figuring out what strategy to apply to other indices, for example, the DAX. So one way to figure that out is to actually practice it and try it yourself, right? These strategies aren't meant for the DAX. Other people have used them themselves, but I haven't used them, so I can't really show you exactly what to look out for. It'd be the same process, but I don't trade the DAX, so I can't tell you exactly when's the best time, when's the wrong time to trade it. You can use any of the strategies on them, but I only trade US 30. So I can't tell you exactly what works best for any of those other assets. So if you want to test them out, you can test them out yourself. And this is like the same reason, the same thing that I was telling you, like, yeah, Slorm said back test, bro. You have to go and test this yourself, right? If you guys don't struggle and you want me to give you all the answers, you're never going to learn anything. And that's like the cycle that a lot of people fall into. They just want the answer straight from me, but then when I give you guys the answer, when you guys actually go apply it, you don't use any of the actual information that I give you, and you just end up blowing the trades, right? So you guys have to struggle to actually get this stuff down, because you're not going to get it down unless you guys actually practice. Just watching me trade, obviously I make things look very easy and very simple because I know what I'm doing. In order for you guys to know what you're doing, you guys have to actually practice and get it down. But yeah, Hassan, you have to go and back test it yourself, because I don't trade those assets, so I can't even give you an answer if you wanted one, because I only trade US 30. So if you had something specific for US 30, I can give you straight up answers. But I don't trade DAX, I don't trade NASDAQ, I don't trade S&P, I don't trade anything else. So as much as I do want to help you with it, I can't, because I can't give you a proper answer for those. So yeah, just do what Salom said, back test any of the strategies and they should work. Or what you do, you can see whoever's posting profits with those specific assets. I don't think there's not too many here that have been posting. Let me check. So let me see here if there's anyone here. I think majority of people still trade US 30. There's like no reason, so what I recommend for you guys is to just find one asset that you like and master it, right? The problem is a lot of people want to trade everything. They want to trade US 30, they want to trade S&P, they want to trade NASDAQ, they want to trade GU, they want to trade AU. And what happens to those people? They fail at everything because they're not good at anything. What I recommend is just finding one asset that you're good at and go and figure out what you're good at. Like, like Eunice here. Eunice posts his profits with me every day. Like I could show you my convo with Eunice here. He like never loses. Like he loses sometimes and they're like really small losses. But literally like his win rate is like 100% every time because he's mastered US 30. The problem with like other people, like I've seen other people post and they just have like a lot of losses because they trade so many different things and everything moves differently. So, just talking to Eunice here, look at all of his wins every single day. I can show you like literally everything here. See how they're all wins? Because he focuses on one asset and he gets really good at it. There's no need to like learn every single asset. There's only so much that you can trade. If you just focus on one, like, I'm just showing you Eunice right here. Looking at Patricia as well, like, let's see. And you guys have seen Patricia's profits. Where is Patricia at? So Patricia as well, right? She only trades the Dow as well, right? She trades the Dow. They're mostly all wins because this is all she trades. She trades the Dow, which is US 30. And that's what I recommend. If you want to trade the DAX, then focus on the DAX and just test the strategies on your own to figure out what works best. But I don't recommend that you go and try to trade every single asset out there because you're probably not going to do well on any of them because they all move differently. Like US 30 moves completely different from NASDAQ and NASDAQ moves completely different from S&P. So what I would recommend is go back test it and figure out which one you like to trade. Fahad said, you mean we actually have to study and lesson, study and learn? Yeah, no, for sure, Fahad. I know Fahad just being sarcastic there. But yeah, guys, you guys have to actually practice and learn and get things down to actually do well with this. This isn't something that you're just going to pick up overnight and be an amazing trader. You have to actually practice and know what you're doing. So Ye just said the positive thing with DAX is that the spread is lower on London session. Yeah, because it is a London asset. So with it being a European asset, you'll see that the DAX and the UK 100 are going to be lower with regard to spread during London session because that's the time that they're open. All right, let me scroll up real quick. But yeah, Hassan, sorry I can't help you with that, but you have to go and just backtest it yourself. All the strategies work pretty much for everything because they're all based off momentum. There's no specific asset that they're tailored to. They're just based off momentum. So you just have to go back and backtest it to figure out what works best for it. But I've seen people use a pivot strategy and it works perfectly fine. All right, let me scroll up and see what we have next here. Jennifer is asking, is Teachable the best place to see all of the most up-to-date strategies? Yeah, they're all listed on the course, Jennifer. So I'm not sure if you were able to take a look at it yet, but everything is on there. So if you go here, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys. All right, yeah. So if you're on the Teachable over here, you can see that everything's pretty much listed in order. It's from intro down to the actual strategies, to the indicators, and then down to the strategies over here. So looking at the strategies over here, this is where you can figure out exactly like what's what, right? If you want to do the scalping strategies, they're all down here. and everything's up to date. Everything still works. Nothing has stopped working. Everything still works perfectly fine. So I even have like details here for the SR strategy, whether it's intraday swing. This is what you'd be looking at. The official intraday strategy. This is like the original one. I personally don't use it that much anymore, but it does line up with the entry sometimes. Like for example, right here, if I'm like looking for a sell, right? And we have a pivot entry right here, but it also lines up with a trend meter. That's how I know it's probably going to be a really good trade, because it's lining up with multiple strategies. Like for example, right here, all these sells over here, they line up with the trend meter. I'm not necessarily looking for an intraday entry, but just looking at this here, if I have a pivot entry and it's also an intraday entry, it's probably going to hit, right? So if you took a trade there for a sell, obviously go straight to TP, and pretty much with all these other cells here as well. So yeah, Jennifer, if you want to go look at them, I mean, they're all on here. All these strategies work. None of them are outdated. Just because like we don't use them as much anymore doesn't necessarily mean that they're outdated. I don't use them specifically as a primary strategy, but I use them as a secondary for a confluence or confirmation. So like, for example, if I'm looking for a pivot entry, like I mentioned right here, if the trend meter matches, then I'm probably going to take a trade, because it also lines up as an entry using the original intraday strategy as well. All right, let me scroll down a little bit and see what else we have here. Let me scroll here real quick. Next question is from, sorry, I'm just getting lost in these questions here. Next question is from Randy. Randy said, when you post your profits, would you show, sorry, when you post your profits, would show the trades both good and bad from trading view? More insight is good. I'm thinking about it, but I don't know, maybe. I do that most of the time, Randy, but the problem with that is I can't show you guys the markups because the strategy for the high low isn't ready yet. So I can't show you the markup if you guys don't even know what the strategy is. So even if I showed you the markup, you guys wouldn't even know what to look at, because you guys do have the requirements, but you guys don't have the indicator, and you guys wouldn't even know what to, like, say for example here, if I was to show you, like, you know how many charts I'd have to post up for all of these trades here? Like, that's so much work for me to do just to show you guys a strategy that you guys don't even know yet, right? So I'll try to do that, Randy, but to be honest, you're asking for a lot, bro. Like, this is how many trades are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You want me to post 16 charts here just so you guys can see what trades I took? I'll try to do that with what I can. I do it during the live session. Obviously, I do during the live session because we already have the charts open. But I mean, for me to just mark up 16 charts just to show you guys what I'm taking, and then you guys don't even know the strategy yet, that's just like way too much for me to, you know, if that's the case, then I just won't post profits anymore. If that's like, if you guys really want to see, because it's just way too much work for me to post up all that stuff there. Yeah, so when the strategy's out, then I'll do it, but the strategy is not out yet. So I mean, if this gives you guys FOMO, where you guys see me profiting like this, which it does, because I see a lot of people complain about it. People complain that I post profits, but I don't show you guys when the trade's being taken, then I'll just not post profits at all anymore. I know a lot of you guys like seeing the profits because I know it gives you guys, you know, that excitement that you guys see profits coming in. But I know you're probably not the person that complains about it, Randy. I know there's a couple people who complain about it, and I know about this because obviously people talk. They complain that they see me trading during Asia session, and people are mad because I'm not live during Asia session. But I'm not trying to be live with you guys 24 hours a day, right? I got a life too. I got other stuff to do. I got like so many other things to do aside from being live with you guys. And I'm here live with you guys. I've been on this live for like almost 2 hours now. So I'll try to, Randy, and I understand you want to see like what trades, like what's the markup and stuff like that. But for these right here specifically, I can't show you because right now, because the strategy is not out yet. But no, I do appreciate your tip with that, Randy, and I do think that'll help. But I'll probably give you like a couple, right? Not all of them, but a couple. The problem with that too is because the problem, I used to do that before. I used to post the chart. So if you go back to like the old postings, I would post the charts, and people would get mad because I would post the charts and profits, and they would get mad that I wouldn't give a signal. So that's why I stopped doing that in the beginning. There's always going to be someone complaining one way or the other, whether it's like, it's crazy. Like I've been doing this for like almost what, 2 or 3 years now. And there's always going to be one person complaining the opposite. Like, for example, you want me to post charts. One person doesn't want me to post charts because they're going to get mad that I didn't share the trade with you guys before I took it. So that's why I'm not trying to get into this, I don't know what to call it. So like here, one thing you're asking me to post charts, right? The next day, someone's going to ask me, hey, why don't you post that chart before you take the trade? And then from there, they're going to say, why don't you take a trade for me? And then after that, they're going to say, Sean, why don't you just send me profits? And it gets crazy. So that's kind of why I'm trying to not give you guys too much, because I want you guys to actually do work, because that's how it was before. Before I would send scalp trades, right? If you guys been with K2 from the beginning, I used to send scalp trades and people would get upset because I would send the scalp trade and they would try to enter it and it's just too late because it's a scalp trade. They have to enter it really quickly. And I just already know the process. I've been through this before with like, the original people in K2. And I just don't want to end up where you guys are depending on me like 100%. So no, I'll try to help you with that, Randy, but that's gonna be after the strategy's actually out. So let me just scroll up and let's see what's next here. Donovan said, wow, humans. No, 100%. I do want to help you guys, but I also want to make sure that you guys are actually doing the work to learn these strategies. And I know you're doing the work, Randy, because we keep in touch, and I know that you're actually getting this stuff down. So let's see what else we've got over here. Next question from Hassan. Hassan's asking, how do you get the previous session high-low indicator? It's a K2 indicator. Hassan, do you have the indicators? I'm pretty sure you do, right? Because it's the K2 sessions high-low indicator right here. So I'm not sure if you, yeah, I don't know if you didn't realize that you had it, but it's under your indicators. So if you go to your indicators, go to invite only strips, it's K2 sessions high-low, and that's how you get the previous session high-lows on the chart for you. Make sure that you change the settings though. This indicator has to be updated because it got all messed up when TradingView updated. The problem with this indicator is that it's time-based, so we're all in different time zones, right? I'm not sure where you're located, Hassan, but for me, these are my settings right here. If you want to go and find those settings, just message me and then I can forward you the post over here, because we have it over here. If you just go to any of the groups and then you just search up sessions, or let me just type in high-low K2 sessions. Okay, so if you go to any of the channels, just search up K2 sessions, and then it was posted last Thursday with the settings right here. But I don't know if they're going to work for yours because I'm not sure what time zone you're in. I'm in Pacific time, so this is what it's set up for me. You're Eastern. Oh, so you should be fine. Yeah, if you're in Eastern, they should be fine for you because it's just going to set to your default time. Because these are going to, or actually, I don't know if that's going to work. Try to set these up right here. So set yours up to these settings right here, Hassan, and then see if your K2 sessions high-low, London low is at 35,634. If that's not right, then you just have to change your settings, because I'm Pacific time, so I had to put these 3 hours ahead. For you, you're Eastern, so you're already 3 hours ahead, so you might not have to change the settings at all. So just keep that in mind, 35,634. And if it's not there, then just reset it to your default settings. I'm gonna have to fix that because most of these indicators aren't time-based. So they work perfectly fine for everyone else. But the problem with this is that it's time-based, so some people have to change their time around. All right, cool. So let me scroll up again. All right, guys, I'm gonna try to get through these questions because I've been on this session for like almost 2 hours now. So I kind of want to take a break, but let me just try to get through all of these questions. Let's see, the next question here is from Hassan as well. So Hassan said, which strategies do you recommend using all day, like Asia and US? So you can apply all the strategies, Hassan. That's a question that I get from everybody. All the strategies work at all times of the day. All the strategies are based off momentum. So as long as the market's moving, then you guys can take trades. during any session. You can take it during New York, you can take it during Asia, you can take it during London. It doesn't matter what time you take it. All these strategies are based off momentum. So as long as the market's moving, you'll have entries here. So there's no specific strategy. And, you know, back to like what we were saying earlier, you have to go back and back test it. So I don't know what time zones you want to trade in or time sessions, but if you want to trade London or if you want to trade Asia session, then go back and back test the strategy. If you find one that you like, then you know, you can focus on that and then figure out different things to look for when you apply those strategies. I think the main thing that you have to do for yourself is figure out which strategy you like. Because there's multiple strategies and they all work perfectly fine. It's just finding one that works and then figuring out how to make it work for that session. Because it's going to work in any session. It just depends, you know, when you decide to trade it and which strategy you decide to trade. All right, so that's it for that. Let me scroll back up. So that's it for Hassan's question. I'm still going down the list, guys. So if you guys have questions, you know, just add them to the list and I'll get to them as I make my way lower down the list here. So next question here is from the professor. Professor's asking, on TradingView, how do I adjust the time at the bottom to correspond with my time zone? I'm East Coast. So professor, in order to do that, just click on this button right here and then you can pick your time zone right there. I have mine set to Los Angeles because I'm Pacific time, LA. For you, I'm assuming you're New York, so you probably put like New York, or depending on wherever you're located, you just check your city over here. All right, let me scroll down further. I'm still at like the messages from 421, so I'm like an hour back from messages, but I'm gonna keep trying to get through all of these here. So Ellis is asking, buy stop makes sense. Is a sell stop the same thing the other way, meaning enter into a sell once it reaches a certain price? Yeah, Ellis, so it does work both directions. Your other question is, what about buy limits, sell limits? Can you explain when to use those? Ellis, did you watch the video in the course? Because this was explained in there. I know you've been having like trouble trading. That's like one of the very bare basics that you should know, right, from the very beginning of trading. So I think you got to go back to the basics and learn what the basics are. If you still have problems with order types, that's like a big red flag, because like that's like something that you should know before you even start entering trades. But I'll show you anyways, just to and I'm just looking out for you, right? I'm not trying to scold you or anything. I want to make sure that you, like, knowing these order types is like one of the first things that you should know before you even decide to trade at all. But anyway, so if price is above here and price is going down, say price is above, right? So price is above and you want to enter down here. This is going to be a sell stop order. Vice versa, if you want to enter a trade above here and price is below it, this is going to be a buy stop order. So the difference between buy stops and buy limits are depending on where price currently is. So if price is below it and you want to enter a buy, it's going to be a buy stop. If price is above it and you want to enter below, this is going to be a sell stop. Vice versa, if you want to enter a sell limit, if price is up here, if price is below here and your entry is going to be up here, this is going to be a sell limit. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I mean, you could even Google that too. So here's another thing that could buy stop, buy limit. Okay, so here's another thing that you can just look at right here, right? Here's a description of it. So this is how a buy stop works. If your price is below and you want to have an entry that goes to the upside, that's a buy stop. If your entry is below where current price is and you want to enter a buy, it's going to be a buy limit. You know, vice versa for a sell stop. If price is above it and you want to enter below, it's going to be a sell stop. Vice versa, if you want to enter a sell limit and price is below their entry point, it's going to be a sell limit. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, because this is like this is something that like you'll like understand when you execute the trades. Because the thing is, when you try to execute a trade, like say for example, you want to enter a buy limit below here. Your broker is not going to let you because it's impossible. You can't enter a buy limit. This is going to be a buy stop. Or sorry, if you want to enter a buy stop and price is above it, you can't enter a buy stop. If you try to enter a buy stop, it's going to give you an error, because the only type of order that you can put in would be a buy limit. So I'm trying to figure out if like, let's see. Ellis, are you still here? I just want to make sure because I'm not sure if you're understanding this or not, but this like your broker will probably not let you enter an order unless it's the proper order type. So this is something that okay, gotcha. Yeah. If you want, just Google it and you can figure out on there too, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Because the thing is, if you try to enter a buy limit here, it'll let you, but if you enter a buy stop right here, it's not going to let you because the only buy stops you can put is above current price. So yeah, glad I could help you with that. But yeah, I know it's a little confusing unless you like understand it, but your broker will generally not let you enter a trade that's not valid or a pending order that's not valid. Okay, let me scroll back up and see what else we've got over here. Okay, so next question is from Noel. And also see you, Sean, tomorrow live trading. We'll catch up in the next seminar. Yeah, definitely, Noel. So I'll see you tomorrow. Adrian said, why shouldn't you take the last valid buy on the 1 minute at 421? That's because I don't trade between 4 and 5, or I don't trade until 5. So that was one of the requirements that we went over earlier. Let me just go over the checklist again over here. I know that question came probably after I went over it, but those are usually times that I don't trade. So here's the checklist again. The times that I generally don't trade is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., 6 a.m. and 6:30, and then 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. So now I would be looking for trades. Like I probably would have taken the sell right here if everything lined up properly. But the one at 421, let's see, that was, yeah, I wouldn't have taken that because the market just opened. So the market opened right here at 3, and market still hasn't determined its direction yet. So I wouldn't have taken that trade. That's the reason why I don't trade between 12 and 5, because 12 is like when US market is going to close, and then 5 is between the time period where market just reopens. And you guys can see the gap right here. So this is when the market reopened. I usually don't trade from this point. From this point up until 5. Because you can see what happens here, right? Price continues in this direction. What doesn't really continue? It just kind of goes sideways. And then it reverses, right? So that's usually the time period that I don't trade in, Adrian. You probably, your question probably came before I went over it, but that's the time period where I usually don't trade. So I don't trade from 12 up until 5. So pretty much this whole period right here, I don't trade from this line over here up until this line over here. And as you can see, this is the reason why I don't trade it, because price goes down, then it kind of comes up and just consolidates, and it doesn't really do anything until like 5 when it starts to choose its direction again, right here for Asia session. So that's the main reason why I don't trade. Why I wouldn't have taken that trade right there at 421. And also another reason why I wouldn't have taken that was because the overall trend here was not bullish, right? So going back to the requirements here again, that wouldn't have fit the technical analysis for a bias, because the bias wasn't bullish, so I wouldn't have taken the trade in that direction. However, right here, you can see the 3 minutes bearish, 1 minute's bearish, 10 minutes bearish. So in this situation, even though it might be a risky trade, I would probably be looking for some sells rather than buys. Because like I mentioned over here, the fundamentals aren't that strong. It's, it's after hours. So the futures data is just 62 points. It's not going to go up to 100, like 100 positive, 100 negative. And also looking at this right here, the short isn't very strong. It's just at 68. If it was like 70, 75, 78, 80 around there, then I wouldn't take any shorts. But right now, the bias isn't very strong. So at this point in time, the technicals would be weighed heavier because the market is technically closed for the US. Yeah, no problem, Adrian. All right, let me scroll down lower and see what else I'm missing here. CT said, I check Asia at 5:30. If by 6 p.m. I don't see volume, I'm out. Oh yeah, so I do the same thing as CT does. He checks at 5:30. I usually check around 5, so we check around the same time. If the market's still slow, I usually don't even trade at all. Ella said you're not on a clock. Randy said you're not on a clock. Let me see if there's anything else here. Ye just said set your trading view at the same time as Sean. Perfect. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I'm reading the rest of the questions here. Let me scroll down a little lower. Sorry, Ellis, I saw a question there regarding the sell using high-low. Your question was at 432, so I wouldn't have taken any trades around that period. I also don't see any entries here at 432 either. So looking at this over here, because your question came in at 640 or 442 or 432. So I don't see any entries here around 432, around this area. This would be the low, but I don't see any price breaking below it. So I wouldn't have taken the trade there off that. Jay just mentioned part of being a good trader is finding your own answers for the basic stuff at least. K2 rules is different. Even in that, all the videos, you get what you put in. That's my no, definitely, and I agree with you too, Jay. You know, I'll try to help you guys as much as possible, but you guys have to struggle on your own to figure out certain things. But you know, obviously, if it's regarding K2 stuff, I'm here to help you guys out. Let me scroll down a little bit. CT said MFF spread is 3.6 during non-Asia. Okay, so that's not as bad. During non-Asia, it's good, but during Asia, it's horrible. Professor, oh yeah, so Professor did post a screenshot of the times there. Let me scroll down a little bit. Jay's asking why 3-minute, 10-minute charts instead of 5 and 15. It's or is it pretty much the same? I mean, it's pretty much the same, but if you're scalping, 15-minute isn't really considered scalping anymore, right? So that's why it's not really necessary. If you're trading on the 1 minute, you're not going to look on the 5-minute and 15-minute because it's just too far of a time frame. Like if you're looking at the 10-minute bias and then you're trying to trade on the 1 minute, your bias is not going to line up with what you're trying to trade. You want to keep it within that little time frame of those quicker moves. So I mean, I guess simple answer to your question is I use the 3-minute, 10-minute because it works. More detailed response to that would just be the fact that the 5-minute and 15-minute are so far from the 1 minute that it's not going to it's not necessarily going to work out well, right? And I'm sure you've tried it before and it hasn't worked out because I've seen other people who have had the same question and they tried it out and it just doesn't work out because the strategies is meant for these specific. And this is like from a ton of back testing and forward testing that I've done. So I've been trading for 11 years now. And, you know, every time I find something that works, I just use it. The thing with the 5-minute, 15 minutes, everybody uses those timeframes. And I just don't find those timeframes to be very useful for these specific strategies that we're applying. So that's why for me, I use the 3 and 10. You're free to use the 5 and 15. They're somewhat similar, but they're still kind of far off if you're trading on the 1 minute. If you're using the 5 and 15, then you might as well trade on a different time frame. You can trade on the 5-minute or you can trade on the 10-minute, which might be better for you, but not necessarily for the 1 minute. It's too far off. Vincent said, can I see your K2 sessions high-low settings? I'm not sure if you got it already, Vincent, but if you just go on the Telegram, just type in K2 sessions and it'll come up right there. So these would be the session, the times for that specific indicator. So let me just get through a couple of these questions. I do see some questions here with regarding the high-low strategies. I'm not going to go over those, like I mentioned. I'll go over those next week when I actually release the strategy to you guys, because I don't want to confuse you guys with the strategy that hasn't been officialized yet. Let me scroll up a little bit and see what else I am missing here. Close that. All right. Kenny is asking, is all the strategies in the classes at the 75 level? No, it's not, Kenny, because you need the indicators to apply the strategies. So you would have to have an active subscription to the strategies to have access to the indicators to apply the strategies. So here's another thing that I need to clear for you guys too. Like, look, guys, when you guys sign up for something, it tells you exactly what you're signing up for, right? So just to avoid the confusion, like whenever you guys sign up for anything with K2, it's going to tell you exactly what you signed up for. So let me see if I could move this. Oh, it's over here. Okay, so look, guys, if you guys sign up for the live trading room, it'll tell you exactly what you're getting, right? So if you scroll down here, where is it at? So if you go over here and you go down, it'll tell you exactly what you're getting when you sign up for this stuff, right? It tells you have access to the groups and you have access to the live trading. It doesn't say you have access to any of the strategies. If you click on the strategies, it'll tell you exactly what you get when you sign up for this, right? Okay, over here you get access to the strategy course. So that's the main difference right there, Kenny. You're not going to get access to all this stuff because you signed up for just the live trading, right? If you want access to the indicators, then you have to sign up for the strategies. If you want, this is what you signed up for, so this is all that you're getting. But in order to apply the strategies, you need the indicators. So whenever you guys sign up for anything with K2, just read what you guys are getting for. Because I see a lot of people sign up and they ask if they get the strategies or the indicators. It's all listed right here what you guys get for what you sign up for. So it's not, short answer to your question is no, it's not included with just live access if that's all you signed up for. All right, so let me scroll down a little bit. All right, so let me see if there's anything else here. Okay, so I think that's it with these right here. Sam said, I have a problem with trading psychology. I tend to exit a trade early out of fear before TP. Therefore, my profit factor is quite low. I'm cool with trading with you. It's just when I'm trading by myself. Any tips how to counter this? Sam, what I would recommend is using a TP and a stop loss. So once you enter the trade, just take the trade and then step away and then just let your trade run to TP or stop loss. That's probably the best way to do it. For me personally, I have it set to automatic TP stop loss. So whenever I enter a trade, I just enter it and then I let it run to wherever it needs to go. But I don't actively manage it. So most of the time, I don't tend to close out of it too early. I just let it run to TP. And that's why you see my profits here sometimes a lot bigger than like what they normally are. So you can see they're all like about 1,000. For these right here, these are during Asia session. So for these trades, I only go for half TP. It's a smaller TP than the regular. So that's why for these are like 1,000 because I'm going for 100 pips. For these, I'm going for like 500 pips. Or in some instances, I just move my stop loss and profit, and then I just pull out early. So if you look at my profits here, some of these are, you can see right here, I made 110, but it was red because I moved my stop loss and profit. These obviously were losses. And then this one right here, I made 2,670, but it was red because I moved my stop loss and profit. So like in some instances, I'll move my stop loss and profit, but I think the best way for you to get better is to just set a TP stop loss and then let it run to where it's supposed to go. And then once you get confident, that's when you'll start to allow it to run further. Then and you won't be closing it as early. So I'm still looking for trades here myself as well, guys. I'm going to mark some stuff up here to see if I see anything. Spread's kind of wide right now, so I don't think I'm going to be entering any specific trades. But let me just keep getting through these questions here. I want to try to get through all these questions here to make sure everything's answered before I log off. I've been on the session for about 2 hours now, so I'm kind of losing my breath, and I kind of need a break. But I want to power through all of these questions before I log off. I just want to make sure everyone's questions get answered, so that you guys are more well prepared to take on the market. So let me scroll down a little further. Kenny's asking, is there any kind of test after each video? No, there isn't, Kenny. I mean, your test would be applying the strategy yourself and seeing if it works, right? If it doesn't work, then you probably aren't doing it right. That should be the main test, because the thing is, the strategies are very simple. The strategies are literally a checklist, right? So like, there isn't really a need for a test here, because I mean, you can test yourself. Like if you're looking for the pivot scalp strategy, then just ask yourself, what are the requirements? There's only 2 requirements here. So it's not really difficult to really get it down. The real difficulty comes from executing the trades yourself and actually doing it properly, right? Because even though, like, here's one thing that I see a lot, guys. Even though this is only 2 requirements, people will still skip the second requirement for whatever reason. I don't understand, like, where people are like getting that idea from, but I see people sometimes they'll take the trade and they won't even look at the second requirement, even though there's only two requirements here, or even the daily strategy, right? Like there's like only two requirements here too. You're literally looking for the first entry after a market open. What I see people do sometimes is they'll skip this first requirement and they'll enter the first candle when it says to look after 6:30, and they'll lose a trade and ask me like, what happened there? And I'm like, well, look at the requirements. What did you miss there? And they didn't even they skipped over the first requirement. So I don't think a test is really necessary after each lesson, Kenny. The real test is applying the strategy and figuring it out if it works. If it doesn't work, then obviously that you need some work on that strategy. But if it does work, then that's probably your confirmation that you've got the strategy and you're doing it properly. So yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a test after it. I was going to give a test after it, but I don't think it's really necessary. The real test is going to be you applying it and hitting profit or hitting your stop loss. That's going to basically tell you whether you learned it or not. Other than that, let's see. Jay said, is there ever a time you take both buys and sells to catch both moves? I've done that before, but I don't recommend anyone do it unless you like really know what you're doing, right? Because what happens sometimes, especially on the 1 minute, so this is why we have a wide stop loss as well, right? Because sometimes I'll use this for example right here. There's an action. I'm not going to use this for example because this is the strategy that I said I was going to teach you guys. But technically, there was like an entry here for a sell, and you would have been going for 50 pips. That would have hit TP. And then if I had another entry going the other way, I would have taken that as well. And I would have shot for they're TPing that way. I've done that before and I do it sometimes. That's why sometimes here you'll see me have profits in both directions. It's not like recently, but last week it was working a lot. So it was like right over here. So you can see right here, I had wins in both directions, right? Because I was taking both trades. I was taking a buy and I was taking a sell. So I'd hit my CP up the buy, because this is what happens sometimes. Like, for example, you're taking a sell, right? And what happens is you go into drawdown, right? Sometimes it goes into drawdown. So if it goes into drawdown, what happens is if you're taking a buy as well, like say, for example, I enter here for a sell and I enter here for a buy, our TP is only like 50 pips, right? So like, this is what happens sometimes. You'll enter a trade. I mean, it didn't happen right here, but I'll just show you, for example, over here. Okay, so say, for example, you enter a trade at the same exact price point, right? And I'm sure you guys have seen this happen where it goes into drawdown. So it hits my TP off this one, and then it comes right back down and hits my TP on this one as well. So I've done that before where I've hit both trades and I doubled up my profit. But it's not something that I'm probably ever going to teach you guys because it's too risky. It's something that you can pick up doing yourself and you can apply yourself, but it's not something that I'm going to openly teach to someone because I could already see someone getting greedy and doing that for almost every single trade, and then they end up blowing their account because they over leverage, right? I see some people where it's crazy. Like like whenever you guys take multiple trades, you're supposed to take a smaller lot size, right? I've seen people where they double up their lot size when they take multiple trades. Like say they normally take a 1 lot, they'll take a 1 lot, and then on the other one they'll take a 2 lot. I'm like why'd you do that? They're like, I don't know. I thought it was going to double up, so they doubled up on their lot size, and they end up losing both trades, and then they get close to blowing their account. So that's something that I'm probably never going to teach you guys. If you know how to do it, then yeah, you can do it yourself. But I'm not going to necessarily teach you guys how to do that, myself. Even though I know how to do it, I'm not going to teach you guys how to do it because it's just too risky. And I don't want you guys to be blowing accounts, taking trades like that. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here. All right, so see if there's anything right here. Sorry, I think I might have scroll down a little bit. B is asking, what is the indicator to mark all-time high? We don't have an indicator that marks all-time high. I just use a horizontal tool. So I use this right here, a horizontal line. Say, for example, this is the all-time high. I just click there, and then I have a line right there. But you don't really need a tool for that. You can just draw a line yourself. Just use the horizontal line tool to mark up the all-time high. Hassan's asking for the K2 10-minute snipe strategy in regards to the wick rejection. Does the wick need to bounce off the pivot or the pivot touch any area of the wick? It can touch any area of the wick, Hassan. So let me go see if I can find an example here for that. So here's an example right here, actually. Let's see if there's a zone around that area. There's no zones around there. I'm gonna try to find. Okay, this is perfect. There's a zone right here. So I'll just show you this as an example right here. So there's a zone right here. And here's the snipe strategy. All right, so looking at this right here, your question is whether the wick needs to bounce off it or whether it can just touch it, right? So like, for example, right here, the wick went right through it. It's just touching the blue one, but it went right through the green one. So that's fine. It can go through it or it can like barely touch it, whichever is the case. But if this was the case right here, you confirm a wick rejection off the pivot, wick rejection off the structure. You make sure that the pivot isn't touching the body, which it isn't. You confirm the direction of momentum. Right here's a sell signal. You would enter right here for a sell. It's a fixed TP stop loss of 500 pips. Then you let it run. And there you go, full TP. So yeah, for that specific strategy, you don't need any specific, like just a pivot touch. It can just be, it can go through it or it can just bounce off it, either or. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Hassan's asking, what was the daily average on your checklist? The daily average is going to be US 30 on the daily. So this is going to be the industrial average for the day. This is not updating right now because the market is closed, but during New York session, it will be updated. So if you guys want to trade something else like other indices, there's also Asia market, right? So if you want to trade Asia market, you can trade the Nikkei. There's a ton of different assets that you can trade. But for me personally, I still just trade US 30 all throughout the day. So, I mean, it's up to you guys if you guys want to trade that stuff. A couple of the K2 admins, you know, including CT here, he's been looking at the Nikkei and it works perfectly fine. So if you want to trade that, you guys can. But for me personally, I just know how US 30 moves. That's why I just stick to it. But you guys are more than welcome to, you know, experiment and figure out what you guys like the most because the strategies work for pretty much everything. Other than that, damn, I just missed this move right here. This would have been a good trade. Price broke right below it. It's all good. It was kind of risky, but it would have hit. Yeah, it would have hit right there. Or actually, not yet. It's still pushing around. It is kind of risky, though. Let's see this. I'm tempted to enter it late, but I wanted to kind of push up a little bit. If we would have entered earlier over here, I would have taken it, but right now it's just too it's already in profit. The problem with this is that it's going to hit the spread. So my spread right now off FTMO is about 14 pips or 140 pips actually. So yeah, it's too risky. I'm not going to take a trade, but it would have been a nice trade. Looks like it's about to hit right there. Other than that, let me scroll down a little bit and see what else I'm missing. See, it would have hit TP right there. Yeah, I should have just entered it when it was like right at this point, but it's okay. And this is what I mean, guys, right? So like this whole time I wasn't looking at the chart, and then randomly at 5:55, I was like, oh, let me check the chart. And there was an entry right there. I could have entered late, but unfortunately I didn't. I missed it, but it's okay. But you guys can see here that this would have been a good entry. There's actually a couple right here too. Another one right here using the high-low strategy. I think I used like a 150 for this. I forgot. I used like a 10 or a 150, something like that. But if I use 10 here, you know, it would have pulled back a little bit. I would have set a sell stop right there. And as it dropped below, it would have triggered it right there. And then again, right here off this one, 2 entries right there. So that would have been about 500 profit each for me if I took both of those trades using the high-low strategy. But yeah, guys, that's how I look at Asia session. I don't necessarily stare at the charts all day. I just wait and I see if there's anything good, then I'll hop into the trade. Ellis said, thank you for your time. Patient Sean, have a good night. Need to run. Definitely, Ellis. I'll see you tomorrow. Hassan said, you always move your stop loss and profit. I rarely do. The only time I do that is if the market's very volatile. If the market's very volatile, where it's spiking up and down really quickly, then I'll move my stop loss and profit to prevent getting caught in whipsaws, because my stop loss is so tight that if price whipsaws so far off, like say for example, it gets really close, hits TP, and then just spikes all the way back up, right? Then I would move my stop loss and profit if like my TP is wider. Like say for example, if I was going for 10 pips, like this right here, if I was going for 100 pips and price got really close to reaching the TP, but it bounced off, then I would just move my stop loss and profit. And I'd move my stop loss slightly in profit so that if price was to come up like it's doing right here and it closed me out, I guarantee profits. Like right there, see, for example, if it came up like that, because I wouldn't want to get caught in this whipsaw. If it ends up spiking all the way far in the negative, then I would have been mad at myself because I could have closed out in profit right here. Because it's fine. If I close out in profit, and you can see right here how it's pushing up, right? If I close in profit, it'd be okay because I can just catch the next move. You know, as it comes back down, I'll just set another sell stop right there, and then I'll catch it as it comes right back down. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if there's anything else here. B said, so what would your stop loss be taking 2 trades at once? I mean, it would depend on the strategy, B. Your trades are always going to depend on the strategy. You're always going to use the same TP stop loss according to that strategy. If you're trading on the 1 minute, then you'll use the 1 minute TP stop loss. If you're using the 3 minute, it's going to be different. So just depending on which time frame you're trading on, which strategy you're playing, you're going to use whichever TP stop loss is required for that one. Generally, the TP stop loss is going to be wider, or the stop loss is going to be wider than the TP, so you'll be able to catch the move, you know, prior to it hitting your stop loss if it's going the other way. Jay, I don't know what you're referring to. So Jay, could you show us just one example and just this once? I just showed 2 examples right there off these 2 trades that were for a sell. So I'm not sure if you caught that, but those are 2 examples. And this is exactly what I just mentioned, right? So this is why I would move my stop loss and profit, because price is going to swing all the way back up. See, if this hit my stop loss, I would have been super upset because I had the opportunity down here to move my stop loss and profit. But if I didn't, then in that case, I'd have been like, damn, I literally threw away all these profits right here, and I didn't even save the position. So that's the case. And if the market's volatile like this is where I would move my my stop loss and profit. Obviously, right now I'm not in this trade. But even if I did take this trade, I would have hit TP already, because I go for a smaller target during Asia session since it's such a low volatile market session for us to be trading in. Let me see. Jay said, I forgot how to get the names on your levels on the far right. So if you want to add your names, or if you want these names right here, just right click on your chart, go to settings, go to indicator name label. Here I checked it off, so it's not there. If you turn it back on, it's gonna be right there on the side. And that's how you would turn it on. B said I wasn't meaning the high-low strategy, just meaning the buy as well. Yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, it works for both strategies. It's not just for the high-low, but I just use that for an example because it was already there. But if you have one using, technically you wouldn't have one using the other strategies because you're looking at the overall trend. So you're only trading the direction of the trend. Like for example, here, if the trend is up, you're not going to take the sell here, right? You would take the buy. And then vice versa. If the trend here was a sell, you wouldn't take the buy, you would take the sell. So the trades aren't going to overlap if you're applying the other strategies. It would only overlap if you're applying the high-low, because the high-low doesn't use those confirmations as a requirement or even as an addition, because of the high-low strategies are just based, you know, strictly on price action. When price breaks the previous high, you're just going to be riding that momentum move in that direction. So you probably wouldn't even find a double entry like that using any of the other strategies, because those are all specifically based off trend. Other than that, let's see. All right, Kenny, see you tomorrow. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Oh, yeah. My bad. I see two. I didn't realize there's two J's there. So there's like, okay, I see there's two J's. One's just J and the other one is J with your last name. So there you go with that there. Yeah, no problem, son. No problem, Jay. No problem, B. All right, guys. So I think that's it for the session. I've been on the session for over 2 hours now, so I got to take a break, guys. I'm like, obviously, you guys can see I'm drained at this moment. I just need to take a little break. Hopefully, I can hop back on the charts and maybe catch a couple of scalps, maybe. But yeah, I think I'm done for this session. So hopefully you guys got all your questions asked. If you guys didn't, it's fine. We're gonna have another mentoring session next week when I release the strategies to you guys, the high-low strategy. That's basically what I'm going to be applying right now as well. I was going to try to get the indicator out to you guys tonight, but I'm kind of beat right now, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it to you guys, but I'll try to. If I have some, I'm gonna take a break, have some dinner. If I feel better, like in the next hour or so, I'll get the indicator out to you guys. There's just like hundreds of you guys that I have to manually input. Like I literally got to go in the system and type in your username and grant access. So that's probably gonna take me a couple hours to actually even get up. So if I can't get it by today, I'll get it by tomorrow. If not by tomorrow, I'll get it by the end of the week. So I think that's it for now. So guys, have a great night. If you guys have questions, feel free to message me on Telegram or email. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. My main goal here was to teach you guys and make sure that you guys got everything down. And that's going to be the same thing with the next session, right? My goal here always, guys, is for me to help you guys become better traders and to be successful at this, right? You guys can see, like, just looking at my profits here, like I could literally not teach people and just trade, right? Because like this morning today, I made on the live session with like $1,000, right? I got off the live session, I made 5,000 more. So like if I had focus to just trade off with myself, I could just make so much money just trading. But I literally come on here to help you guys because I want to help you guys. Like I do this because I enjoy helping you guys and I like seeing you guys profit. Like just like looking at the profits here, guys, these are all random people, right? Like I don't know any of you guys prior to K2. Everyone here is like new friends and members here through K2. Seeing people profit like this every day using my systems, using what I teach you guys, that's what like keeps me going, right? Because I see people here like killing it who have never killed it in trading before, and this is what keeps me wanting to teach you guys. So just a reminder, there's no like real end goal for me here with regard to like teaching you guys. My end goal really is just to make sure that you guys are well. There's no, I mean, there's a benefit here for me, obviously, but the benefit here is really for you guys to learn from me because I've been trading for so long. My goal here is to pass this on to you guys so that you guys can trade exactly how I do. And if you guys don't like trading like I do, it's completely fine. I see some people in the group who mix up my strategies with their own strategies, and then they create some kind of super strategy, right? Which can be done. Like if you guys have seen in the chat here, there's a couple people here who have been doing like exceptionally well. Like Narito here, you guys have seen Narito, he trades stocks. So Narito doesn't necessarily use the K2 strategies standalone. He uses his own knowledge from his own trading, and then he uses the K2 momentum indicator and a couple other stuff to help him be more sure about his trades, right? Because before this, he wasn't like this consistent, right? He was good, but he wasn't like super consistent. Now that he like has the tools and he uses them in conjunction with his own strategies, he's been going above and beyond. So my goal here is to help you guys out. So if you guys do have questions, always feel free to ask questions. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you guys on the next live session tomorrow. And hopefully I'll get the indicator to you guys by this week. If not, next week is going to be for sure, because I'm going to be